What's up, Frost Bros? It's been quite a year. I've started uploading since May 25th of 2023, and after a nice year of uploading, I thought I would do something special to celebrate our good anniversary. So as you can see, we're in the good old land of Skyrim, and as you can see right down there is actually where I've done my more iconic intro, my more modern intro. And you may wonder, well, why am I over here? Well, it's just so happens to be one of my bestest places for spawning one of the most mystical creatures of all, which just so happens to be the namesake of this channel. And I think it would be nice to spend a good hour of literally just chatting about frost trolls and my opinion on them and what all I know and what all I think about them, and just how magnificent they are. And of course, instead of just doing my usual commentary, I may do more deep dive explanations. So that's right, I'm going to do this Asana style. Or, as he likes to say, What's up, Frost Bros? So, we're here, right here in front of Labyrinthian, and today we're going to be exploring with our bros. As you can see, we have ourselves quite a fine specimen. So as you can see, the mighty frost troll is very unique in nature. They are not the kind of creatures that, well, want to just straight up attack you, because of course he is charging me down now. That's because he's quite territorial, and I'm actually in his little domain. But as you saw, when he first spotted us, he actually didn't want us to approach. He was trying to warn us to back off. And so, of course, as you can see, he is a little too powerful for our little calm spell here. I thought we were good enough, but I guess they are a little more powerful than level 15. But that is fine. And as you can see, he is actually having a word with us. Frost trolls are a bit different, a bit unique in the sense that they do have somewhat of their own unique language. So right there, he basically told us to F off since we are, in his territory. And he's also doing a bit of a cry for help because, of course, frost trolls are much like normal people in the sense that they actually build communities. And of course, Labyrinthian here is one of the most perfect places for frost trolls to build a community. Now you may be wondering, where are the other trolls? Well, they're just now waking up from their houses. We got another troll over here, and of course he's doing his warning routine. And of course he wants to maul us to death, same with all the other trolls. But alas, we're just here relaxing, And as you can see, these guys, they are quite quick, and they are actually much faster than you would think, but of course they are only moving with a purpose to try and chase me out of this place. If I were to actually leave this location, they would calm down and eventually just lose interest. That is because of the nature that these creatures are more intelligent than people give them credit for. They aren't as aggressive as you would think, but rather territorial. This is their land, this is their domain, this is their language, this is their culture. They are not necessarily as savage or primitive as you would think. Because of course they do have their own language, their own fighting style, and of course they could fight dirty, but they give you plenty of chances to dodge and weave and get out of the way. Unlike the more barbaric Nords who would charge you down and attack while moving at the same time, which is very aggressive. Now you may think, well, isn't the Udurfrite also a frost troll, and isn't he aggressive? Well, yes, the Udurfrite is a frost troll found on Solstheim that destroyed the Nord meat hall and slaughtered everyone there, and even used a Nord leg as a weapon to fight the Nerevarine. But alas, that's a rare case. In fact, even if you look at lion prides, lions are very majestic beasts that are actually more peaceful than people would give them credit for, but there are small cases where an entire pride could have just, you know, a few members that are basically just like the mafia versions of lions, where they actually go out of their way to go hunt and kill. And that's what the Utherfreit basically is a frost troll that's actually aggressive and primitive, truly dangerous. Now, another thing, you may wonder why I like to consider these creatures more intelligent when it looks like they don't really speak an actual Tamrielic language, and why I'm actually considering this a language. Well, it's because frost trolls do know Tamrielic, or at least a troll knew Tamrielic in Oblivion, or at least they know how to learn Tamrielic enough that the one in Oblivion could actually do certain things. There is a troll in Oblivion that can be found underneath a bridge that has a note on him, basically being his suicide note, saying that he's not scary enough and therefore, you know, he may as well end it all, which is quite sad to think about, and it's really just because no one would pay his bridge toll. Now, you may have been wondering, how would he be able to have people pay a bridge toll if they can't speak? Well, they can speak. They're just choosing not to. And the reason why is quite simple. Because through their eyes, we're the aggressive ones. I mean, I am the one that's just been running around with a sword drawn the entire time. And of course, we got 3 frost trolls. As you can see, these guys do know their pack tactics. They do like to group up. And of course, trolls are very intelligent in various ways. There's even the Trolls of Arena, who actually use equipment, and of course, they actually own a zoo over in Crystal Tower, and they can actually write down exhibit names, and they're even smart enough to see, say, Sindar Dreth, or whatever your eternal champion is, and quickly and hastily write down that exhibit for just a random cell. Because you see, these trolls, though they can be quite, well, trollish, for lack of a better term, they are quite intelligent, and they do like to play jokes, even though they are quite brutal from time to time. But of course, these trolls do live in their own world, you know. Perhaps this guy, for instance, he swings at us like this. Maybe that's actually how trolls would, like, communicate with each other. Maybe they would slap each other occasionally as a way to just be like a sign of friendship or love for another. But of course, to us, it's dangerous because we're not designed the same way these trolls are. These guys can regenerate. So, you know, a slap to them is like a pinch. But a slap from them to us is like, well, a lion trying to take your arm off, from my earlier lion analogy. Because, of course, these guys are very much like lions. They have a lot in common with lions, with their pride and their honor. And, of course, they're just magnificent beings. As you can see, trolls are also very interesting in the fact that they could probably see in different ways than us Tamrielic races can. Because as you can see, these guys don't have 2 eyes like most races. They have 1, 2, 3 eyes, just like the 3 trolls here. So of course, they have 1 central eye that's more wide than the others, and maybe the other 2 is to like determine trajectory and distance from an opponent, which is why they swing whenever I get close, is because they know how far I am and know when would be a good time to swing. But aside from that, these guys have that 3rd eye that's much larger. And honestly, the explanation of that 3rd eye isn't really there, so it is possible that that 3rd eye could be something all together, like a supernatural eye that gives them better perception. Maybe it lets them see into your soul, which is why these guys would attack most races, because they know most races would run up to these guys and hunt them for troll fat, which again is another reason why these guys would be so territorial. Because at the end of the day, if a bunch of random aliens started showing up to your house and started killing your family and then harvesting their bellies just to run off and tell their alien buddies that your bellies are like a good ingredient and then come back with more weapons, like, you'd be a little territorial too, like, wouldn't you? Like, you gotta imagine what these guys feel. And of course, there's another thing. These guys are always here in Labyrinthian. You will never see a frost troll attack a settlement. And I know, you may say, oh, well, there's not that many settlements in the cold, which is why there's not that many frost trolls out and about. Well, I beg to differ with the fact that there's places like Dawnstar and Windhelm, and these places never get attacked by trolls, by frost trolls or normal trolls. And of course the normal trolls, we'll call them grass trolls for now, well, they don't attack any other settlements either. They don't attack Whiterun or Falkreath or anywhere like that. In fact, there's only one grass troll that can be seen naturally anywhere near any settlements. One grass troll is actually nearby Ivarstead, and that grass troll simply sits in a cave. He is extremely close to Ivarstead, yet he never attacks Ivarstead, despite the fact that he could easily go out of his way to, say, go out in the middle of the night and catch, say, a quick bite to eat, maybe like Narfi's sister, but of course Narfi's sister is at the bottom of the water, the bottom of the river, not in a grass troll's cave, which, makes you think, what if these guys are actually smarter than you'd think? What if these guys are actually about as intelligent as giants? Because you see, giants are another race in Tamriel that doesn't really get that much of a rap as being an actual Tamrielic race, because, well, they're more aggressive and primitive and they can't speak your language, when in reality they still have a culture, they still have livestock and tools and whatnot. No, though the frost trolls don't use tools, at least in Skyrim, they do use tools in Arena, mind you. These trolls do live in houses. You saw that one leave that house, and this one leave that house, and this one, well, he was walking up that path, but at the end of the day, sometimes you just want to take a nice midnight stroll, even though it's the middle of the day. Maybe a midday stroll, maybe he was getting his steps in, Possibly. And of course these guys, well, they're just going to learn to accept me because, of course, I am just one of them. Which is why they haven't absolutely mauled me to death yet, is because I haven't laid a finger on them. Though they are trying to actively do it, which is, one thing, but of course, these guys could do a lot more damage if they wanted to. These guys could be a lot more aggressive if they wanted to. I mean, you see how trolls are in Arena, and hell, there's even the trolls in ESO that can actually move while attacking, so they can be aggressive if they choose. These trolls, however, choose not to be. And the reason why is, well, to talk myself in circles, the reason why is, of course, they're well, more noble and prideful, and they're honorable. They don't want to fight in a duel unless it's a fair fight. And though there's 3 trolls here, well, they still don't want to try and surround me. As you can see, even when they do surround me, they do move slow enough for me to actually move away, and they do give warning cries. As you've noticed within the past, 20 minutes, these guys have been using warning cries in between chasing me for the longest time. These guys do not want to fight me. They want me to leave. They do not want to kill me and eat me. They want me to just get the heck out of here. Because this is their home. This is their land. This is where people would go to invade the trolls, to eat their fat. because at the end of the day, well, these guys have their home, their place, and the Nords and other races of Tamriel have their place. And many people will come onto Trolls' land and kill them and hunt them. But these guys in reality, well, let's just say they're certain bros. In fact, you could almost say that they're Frost Troll bros. Now, with all of this in mind, with these guys actually being somewhat of a race, you may be wondering, well, what's next? What's next in the evolutionary cycle? I mean, how long have these guys been here anyways? Well, if you actually look at some stuff, and there has been rumors I've heard in ESO where trolls have actually been around since the Dawn era. Now, the Dawn era is quite an interesting era because, you see, the Dawn era is older than the Merithic era. And is not just that, but older than the pre-Merithic era, the era like in between the Dawn era and the Merithic era. I forget the name, but basically it was an era where the Khajiit and Argonians still resided on Tamriel along with the Avians, which are now extinct, probably thanks to the Aliens, let's face it. Those elves are quite dangerous. And of course, those guys, well, the Khajiits had to evolve from something, and even though, you know, there's the birth mother Azura, who's to say that Azura isn't a frost troll? Who's to say that the Khajiit aren't just descendant of trolls? In fact, I'd go as far as say that if the trolls were around since the Dawn era, what if they're effectively the common ancestor of every beast folk? Like, what if these guys are as related to, say, Argonians as, oh, I don't know, aliens to high elves? Like, these guys are beast folk. They are not animals. They are people that simply have, well, lost their way because of other tribes, like the Khajiit tribes and Argonian tribes, rising up in intellect and technology much farther than the trolls ever could achieve. And of course the giants have done the same. However, the giants are said to have come from Nords, and the Nords only came long after the elves were there. So, in our history, in Tamrielic history, we've had the people who have come in after the elves, who have come in after the beast folk, who have evolved from trolls. And that is why the trolls are the best of bros, because, well, they're just the race. Like, the trolls are the Tamrielan. There is no other native Tamrielan race other than trolls, because they're the original humanoids. And you may think, oh, well, how's that? Like, they're more ape-like. Well, one thing about great apes is great apes have even adapted many cultures and societies similar to, well, caveman tribes. Which, of course, if that's the actual case, well, what's the difference between a frost troll and just a regular old dude, but from the Flintstones age? You know, like, a frost troll is no different from you or me than Fred Flintstone. Like, they're just basically us, but in a different time, in a different era. The Dawn era, simply brought here. And of course, shrunken down in size, because it is said that the trolls were much larger at one point. But as you can see, they're about Khajiit height, maybe a little taller. If they stand up, yeah, they can definitely reach Nord height, which is pretty terrifying. But alas, these guys, well, they're just guys, you know? They just want to chill. They just want to relax. They want to be themselves. And who's to say that they can't be themselves? But, well, me, I'm just one of their bros, you know? I'm just hanging out, chilling. It's one of the reasons why I have the Frost Bro namesake, is because these guys, well, they're probably the chillest of dudes. Because even though they're trying to kill me again, they're more territorial. They give warning shots. They give you every chance to leave. They are just bros like that. They are chill like that. In fact, one of the main reasons why I have this name is actually because of a little thing that happened. You see, I was playing Skyrim once with my brother, and a frost troll doing, well, let's see if I can get it on camera. One of the taunts, it was that taunt right there. It was a full wide arm roar, which the wide arm roar is actually just iconic with me. And the reason why is because of the sheer position. You see, to us, that wide arm roar looks like an intimidating shriek to tell you get off my land. But to another frost troll, well, if you actually look at it with through the eyes of a frost troll, it just looks like a bro trying to give you a hug. Like he's just saying, "Raw, give me a hug, bro." And that's where the whole Frost Bro namesake came from. Was literally from that one animation. And it was literally that animation being done in that loading screen. It was just a freeze frame of the arms stretched wide open during full roar. And that right there is the reason why I am the Frost Bro. Because me and my brother are Frost Bros. And these guys, well, they're just a bunch of Frost Bros too. They're just chilling, hanging out, having a good time. Yeah, just like that. That roar right there. It is probably the most iconic roar I have ever seen. Now, another thing about frost trolls is you may notice that they have plenty of hair on their backs, but their bellies and forearms and biceps are actually more exposed, same with their faces. Well, I have a theory for that. You see, the reason why these guys are so resistant to the cold isn't because of their hair, since, you know, they have exposed skin bits, which is a lack of a better term. So my theory is that these guys actually have evolved to have effectively blubber, like actual walrus blubber, with their hair. So not only are they getting a little bit of warmth on their backs, which is to mostly help with snowfall, like what's happening now, but they also get plenty of warmth on their bellies, or at least just enough warmth on their bellies and, well, the regions that they hunch over and keep to the ground as close as possible, because as you can see, they keep their faces, chests, arms, hands, feet, knees, all shrunk down to lower their posture as much as possible, just to keep themselves a little warm, as you know, because it can get cold in Skyrim. But, you know, what if that's all just blubber? Like, what if the skin bits are all actually just, you know, blubber, like a layer of fat? In fact, that can be further followed up with the fact that trolls actually drop troll fat whenever they die, which, of course, that would probably be the blubber you're harvesting off them. Now, these guys are just something else. They have actually quite some powerful appendages that they can use to deal with threats that actually infiltrate. As you can see, these guys have massive claws, large forearms and biceps, and their feet are perfect for lunging towards their prey. And And based off the fact that they're more primate in stature, it is possible that their heads are actually similar to that of a silverback gorilla, meaning that they would have a jaw with a bite force equal to that of, say, half an American alligator, which is enough to crush a human skull with one chomp. Yeah. Like, I think it's like 85 pounds per square inch or something like that, which is basically equal to that of, like, what, a truck driving over you at full speed? Yeah. These guys have a bite force that can tear through flesh, and yet they choose to use their weaker claws to try and take down their, well, their adversaries, because they don't really have prey. They can still eat goats, and that's probably what they hunt the most, since that's what's really out here aside from frost trolls and the occasional adventurer. But really, adventurers, they don't probably eat that much, because it is possible that since frost trolls are, well, as primitive as they are, it's possible that they eat their prey bone and all, and yet whenever you see a troll cave, you do see human skeletons, which makes you think, oh, maybe they ate humans. Well, it is my theory that maybe they don't eat humans as much as they want to, or at least they don't go out of their way to do so, and they eat most of their prey bone and all. And the reason why there's so many human skeletons in their caves is because, well, those were people who fought them, failed, died, and they just left them there to rot like, well, trophies, since they didn't really want to throw it out to attract more people, so they just left it inside so it could just not be seen. And whenever it rotted and eventually just went back into the ground, the trolls would be like, whatever. Because of course, why would you worry that much about a corpse that you want nothing to do about? And of course, these guys are still trying to actually juke me. In fact, they are starting to develop new tactics. They're trying to cut me off now. But alas, I am probably the most skilled troll tamer there is in Skyrim. I honestly don't know if anyone else could go an hour with trolls without attacking them, or trying to actually flee or anything, but just staying within this area, just constantly dodging. You know, just constantly staying just barely without reach. You know, like I wonder if Gitshiver could do this for an hour. You know, like I wonder if someone could just do a challenge like that, like I am now currently. And of course, I do need to continue talking about trolls for another, what, like 20 minutes just to keep this special up. So yeah, I guess I can talk a bit more about my channel. So yeah, a year of uploads. What all do I have in the future? Well, after I'm done, you know, taping this and editing it and whatnot, and editing a bunch of images and whatnot, I'm going to probably just play Oddworld Stranger's Wrath, get the next episode of that out, and you know, this has just been a fun year. I mean, I've collected over the years over like what 179 subscribers within my first year of uploading. Like, that's impressive. I wonder how many years it took other people to grow up to almost 200 like that, because I'm not at 200 yet, but I have surpassed 100, and I am actually beating my cousin a good bit. My cousin Flaming has only 50 subs, so you should probably sub to him if you're watching this, because yeah, he could use some more subs. Of course, he could release a few more videos, would definitely be nice, would definitely help his subscriber count, like what I'm doing here. You know, just risking my life with this old Leo Raw's copy that isn't even powerful enough to do the skit I was here to do, but that's fine. I can always dodge. and just relax, talk about the trolls. And even though they're not standing as still as I want them to, I can talk about their physiology still just fine. The fact that they have 3 eyes and claws and hairy backs. Oh, and buttocks. They actually got butts. Similar to that of, well, primates. Which, you know, does show a bit more of their human-like ability. And of course, there's another thing about trolls. They can actually be trained to fight alongside people as though they're just, well, normal people. They can be fully armored and trained, and the Dawnguard have actually trained trolls just to fight vampires, which is definitely cool. It was actually one of my favoriteest additions of that DLC. In fact, it was literally one of the main reasons why I actually picked Dawnguard whenever I played that DLC. Was literally just so I could have a Frost Troll companion. Because, I mean, come on. Who doesn't want a Frost Troll as a follower? I mean, look at these guys. Aren't they just amazing? They're just goofy little dudes. You know what I mean? They're just bros. They're just hanging out, chilling. Wanting hugs. Hugs that I'm probably not going to give them because they could probably shatter every bone in Leo Ross's body within 1 second. And of course, it is kind of sad that these guys, Frost Trolls specifically, are only in like 2 games, Morrowind, and it's technically Grawl and not Frost Trolls, and Skyrim. And really, Skyrim is the only one where they're most defined as Frost Trolls and not Grolls. Or Udderfright, I guess. Which, even though the Udderfright is actually more of a grass troll design, but, you know, it is what it is. And, of course, the Udderfright in Oblivion is more invisible, so it's hard to really tell if he's an actual frost troll or a grass troll, but considering that he has the same model as a grass troll, it's possible he's a grass troll. Which, honestly, nothing wrong with grass trolls, it's just, well, they're grass trolls. They're less common than the frost trolls, or at least harder to track down. There's one frost troll that's always on a High Hrothgar, and of course, a lot of people will always complain about how one of these guys is always there on the Hrothgar path, blocking you from entry, when in reality, you can see just how slow these guys are, how many chances they give you. And you can now see, just from the fact that I can do all this, like I can just do this, easily. Easily. So you can obviously see why Bethesda would put one on the path to High Hrothgar as a way to say, hey look, some enemies aren't worth it, and of course some of them are actually slow enough that you can just dodge anyways, so there's literally no reason to fight them. Which, you know, it's actually kind of cool. I do like when there's an enemy that's introduced that has some personality, like a frost troll, and yet at the same time has probably no actual use outside of the fact that you can have one as a friend in the Dawnguard expansion. And of course, I'm saying as a friend, not as a pet, because of course that one dude who trains the trolls, he does say, hey, they're not pets, and honestly, I do like that. I do like when he says they're not pets, they're more of just guards, so treat them like guards and not like pets. You know, like, that does humanize the trolls a bit more, which I do enjoy. And I do wish more companies and games would actually recognize frost trolls and other trolls as being these amazing beings that are more intelligent than you would actually think, and being more advanced than what even the creators think. Because of course, Todd Howard made these guys and put them in houses, probably thinking, oh yeah, people would definitely think they're wild animals. No, they're not wild animals. I mean, just look at them. You really mean to tell me that's a wild animal? You mean to tell me that these guys are wild beasts and not people that are just trying to have fun, chill, and hang out? I mean, seriously, like, Here, let's do a bit of a meme. Me and the boys, when we, just me and the boys about to get us some beer. Me and the boys heading to the liquor store. Me and the boys heading home to play Minecraft. Me and the boys getting ready to play D&D. Oh. Well, that's tragic. Hey! First death and we got the same loading screen. This is actually the loading screen I'm talking about. The Frostral Bro loading screen. But anyways, now that that happened, we can actually get a better look from a more hidden perspective. So as you can see, these guys, they do relax in their domain. They do like to chill out. And as you can see, this one that you may think is patrolling, you can see how he's moving. You can see how he's reacting to everything. He's not patrolling. He's just relaxing, taking in the sight. I mean, just look at that. Just look at that slouched movement. He's not moving with a purpose. He's not moving to murder something. No. He's moving just because, hey, today is a nice day for a walk. Wouldn't you agree? Like, that's how he's moving. That's why he's moving. People wouldn't see that. People would see that and think, oh, wild beast. And of course, he saw us moving around and he thinks, hey, I saw something. So of course he's going to run around. He's going to try and figure out where we are. How to get to us. But at the end of the day, you know, he's going to be like, within a few seconds, he's back to being relaxed. He's back to being chill, you know. He's just a chill guy. You know, he's just a chill guy chilling. That's all it is. And that's all trolls ever will be. And of course, anyone who disagrees with me, hey, I'm the troll channel. If you make your own Frostral Bro channel, you can, well, I'd probably hate that because I am Frostral Bro, so I don't like people copying. But yeah, if you make your own channel about trolls and frost trolls and whatnot, you get to talk about trolls, you know what I mean? You get to say what you want. Yeah, but on a serious note, these guys are definitely more chill and relaxed than people would give them credit for. You know, like these guys, they're not necessarily as aggressive as they are just territorial. And as you can see, this guy, well, he detected me, but considering the fact that he doesn't really have many options to get to me, he probably doesn't care that much. No, ooh, that's spine injury. As you can see, he is really angry with us. Classic Skyrim eat cheese wheels exploit. Yeah, but as you can see, these guys, whenever they can't get to you, they don't want to just try and find a way to get to you. Instead, they'll look at you and be like, hey, get down from there, and they'll just taunt you until you leave. Or get down from there so he can actually, you know, run up to you until you can leave a little bit better. And of course, we did fail what I was going to do. I was trying to survive an onslaught of frost trolls for an hour, but of course I failed to do that. So that is actually a challenge that's up now. So if any other channel wants to try and go into Labyrinthian, attract all the 3 frost trolls, and never leave the area of Labyrinthian and just hang around the frost trolls as closely as possible without dying for an hour, you know, that would be an interesting challenge. And of course, this guy is very mad that he can't get to us, so we are going to use our Khajiit powers to climb around. As you can see, he doesn't like that. He doesn't like that we're over here now. In fact, he thinks he can get to us. And he can't. And of course he's just gonna cry about it. Because that's really what trolls do. They like to cry more than they actually like to do it, you know? Like, they don't move with the purpose to kill, they move with the purpose to annoy and get you to leave. Which is one of the main reasons why I like frost trolls as an enemy. They actually have personality. They're not like the other enemy types that just look at you and then go, okay, you die now, and just start chasing you. No. These guys have a purpose. These guys have a reason. These guys are people. They aren't like the Draugr, who are more savage and bestial. No. These guys are more like, well, the apes. They're like just the old ape memes where you have the great apes just chilling out doing people things. Because that's really what frost trolls are. Or just the monkey see, monkey do memes. Like, they're just chill. They just like to relax, hang out. And of course, these guys do like to have fights in more honorable fashions. And whenever I do have to fight these guys, and it's for very rare reasons, like, say I'm protecting an NPC that wouldn't understand the physiology of the trolls, then yeah, I would actually fight these guys. And of course I would fight them honorably by only using melee and never blocking. Because at the end of the day, the only way you can fight these guys in an actually humane way is to fight them on their own turf. Because, you see, these guys, they melee. And wow, that guy regenerated that fast. But of course, these guys, they melee. And of course, they're resistant to cold but weak to fire. But I don't like using magic against them. It just feels wrong, especially if you use fire against them. It feels like you're doing a disservice to how they are and how they function. You know, frost trolls are not to be faced with a cowardly way, you know. They're the one thing I'll probably never try to sneak attack, just because of how they're structured, how they're built. And of course, now that we're up here again, I can probably take a better look at some of these other trolls. Because of course, we can actually sneak around and actually troll watch a little. So of course there is this one down here just hanging out on the pathway. But of course we do have other trolls in the area. We do have a couple of house dwellers. There's one that hangs out in here. And of course I can't seem to get him out as easily as the one that hangs out there. But of course, they do hang out in their houses, which is kind of cool. They do actually relax in places because they do think shelter is actually useful, which, you know, goes to show that they are more human-like. An animal would build a den in the middle of nowhere, where these guys, you know, they want to actually live in a home. They don't want to live in a den. They don't want to live in a little shack. They don't want to live in a cave. Though they do live in caves from time to time, most of the time. They do like to actually have an actual house, a place they can call home. And, oh look, found a troll. And of course, we're just going to fight this one so we can show you how combat works with these guys. And as you can see, some of these guys are a bit more passive than most. Like this one right here, he just wants to stand his ground. Though he would probably try to attack us the second we approach. As you can see, he's actually kind of friendly. Honestly, you haven't seen any trolls like this. And of course, he did move. That is because we did stand in his, well, area for a little too long. Because again, these guys are more territorial than they are aggressive, as I've said before. And I do actually mean that. These guys, they do not want to fight to kill, they want to fight to deter. And that is one thing that people will miss. And of course, I don't like attacking these guys when they're taunting, even though I just did that. As you can see, these guys are basically built to trade blows. And though he could kill us in one blow, we are actually trading blows with them more honorably, which you can actually see will actually eventually take them out. Even though we are very underleveled for this. Probably too underleveled, some would say. Doesn't matter because, of course, these guys, they actually fight fairly. They're one of the very few creatures that will actually wind up their attacks and fight like they're a Dark Souls boss. Which, though that sounds like they would be harder to fight, no. They're actually easier to fight because they Dark Souls boss fight. Because they fight like the Pit Fiends that moves at 1 mile an hour instead of just insta-killing. Like the two-handed bandits that are so annoying. No, these guys, they actually want to fight you on your own turfs instead. They want to fight you like you're actually there. Like you're an actual person. You know? Like they actually have honor. They have respect, discipline. Maybe the Nords could learn a thing or two from these guys, you know what I mean? Because these guys, they actually know how to fight and throw a punch. Like they could kill me in one blow. And they could easily try to kill me. But they choose to do this instead. They choose to show their attacks before they attack. So they can actually, well, give you a better shot, a better chance. Unlike, well, the Draugr, who are much more aggressive in that regards. And of course, these guys, well, let's just say the Frost Trolls are definitely another great chapter when it comes to the creatures of Tamriel. Like, the Quama are nice, sure. But of course, I leave the Quama to Getshiver, who is the Scrib enthusiast. Me, on the other hand, I'm a Frost Troll enthusiast. I like them because of probably the worst reasons. Literally just because they don't have that much about them. Like, other than just some speculation. We just fell to our death, that's embarrassing. Other than just some minor speculation, really, like, these guys, they don't have much to them. But of course, they have so much personality. They have so much honor and respect. They actually act like they're an actual enemy, unlike the other Bethesda enemies. Like they're an actually structured creature. They're an actually structured race. And of course, as you can see, every time you approach these guys, they will give you 3 warnings to run away before they attack. 3. Not 1, not 2, but 3 warnings that you have entered a Frost Troll's territory. Which, you know, that there itself should show you how intelligent these creatures are. They're intelligent enough to recognize what a warning is, and intelligent enough to recognize that some people need more than just 1 warning. And there is only one other enemy type that will give you 3 warnings like that, and that is literally any NPC that has caught you trespassing. They will tell you, you're not supposed to be in here, you should leave now, you're not supposed to be in here, and then they'll call the guards and attack you. These guys are literally the same when it comes to that. These guys are literally smart enough to recognize that that is honorable and respectful towards intruders, even if it can be the death of them, even if it's enough to actually mess with them and allow them to be hunted more easily, which is probably one of the reasons why so many hunters like Frost Trolls, because they're easier to hunt, which I hate. I despise that people actually go out of their way to hunt Frost Trolls instead of fighting them honorably in actual combat. And though this looks like I am murdering this dude, You can see that he has natural regeneration. He's recovering from this like it's nothing. And you may think, oh, well, that means I need to use magic and use fire. No, that doesn't mean that. That just means that I'm getting my training in, you know? He's not an actual enemy. He's not here to kill me, or he is here to actually kill me, but he's not here to actively be a proper enemy that's meant to be defeated. No. He's here to help me train. He wants to basically help me fight a bit more than anything. He's basically telling me that this world is dangerous, you gotta know how to fight if you want to live. And you may not believe me, you may think I'm crazy. Maybe I am crazy, maybe I have been touched by Sheogorath. Or maybe, just maybe, I have some truth. And that frost trolls are actually much smarter than people give them credit for. That frost trolls actually have honor, respect, and integrity. And though that attack did nearly just wipe us out, we are still able to keep on going. And we're able to keep on trucking. And of course, this guy's still trying to charge us down. Or at least charge us out of his area. Because you can actually see, if I were to run away, due to the fact that this frost troll is slow enough, and slow moving enough, if I were to actually leave the wilderness and go out here, I would eventually lose the frost troll. And we just crashed. Are you kidding me? Wow. But anyways, my point still stands. We would eventually lose the frost troll, and we would eventually be able to get out of his territory safely enough that he would eventually recognize, hey, this guy doesn't want to mess around. I should probably leave him alone. They're the only enemy types that will actually give you that much of a chance to leave. Other enemy types will chase you down, will run after you, will go after you at full force, at full sprint. These guys, well, they can be much faster. They just choose not to be. That's the greatest part about these guys, because in arena they can chase you down as fast as possible, and they are much more aggressive in arena. But in Skyrim, they're just people. And honestly, I think these are people that should be left alone, that we should learn from. That maybe one day the Nords will recognize that the true race of Skyrim is actually the frost trolls all along, and that the frost trolls are the ones that are protecting the place from danger. But of course, it has been about an hour now, and I have been ranting on about frost trolls for so long that my throat is starting to get sore. And of course, it is starting to get tiresome, just constantly trying to make up random stuff about trolls. Anyways, I'm all trolled out. This has been definitely a fun video to make for my first year anniversary. So, yeah. Thank you all to all my subscribers, all 179 of you who have stuck through all the way to the end. Especially you, Ava. Yeah, and I think this could be a good wrap-up for this year's 25th anniversary. Maybe I could make it a whole tradition. Every year I do something like this, something akin to this. Maybe next year I'll come back with Leo Ross, but he'll be stronger, and we'll actually talk about frost trolls in more depth with an actually powerful enough calming spell to actually be able to, well, calm these guys down. And though I could give an example, I am trying to make a point to leave these guys alone because, of course, I want to try and set an example. These guys, they are territorial. They want to be left alone. That is something that should be respected. So to all of you playing Skyrim, please, for the love of Azura, let the Frost Trolls live. Leave them alone. Let them stay in their homes where they can relax and be at peace. Anyways, this has been your bro Frostbrew, and I think I'll catch you on the next one. Later!